Hey guys, welcome to Coding for Kids. So today we'll be going over how to make your own sprites. And you can use these techniques to make your own backdrops as well. So if you didn't want to make your own sprites, there's actually a way around that. You can actually pick from a variety of sprites that are included in the default Scratch library. So you can access the library by clicking on Choose a Sprite in the bottom right corner. When you click that, a ton of sprites show up, and basically you can select any sprite that you want and code it like you normally would. So just drag and drop blocks. But if you didn't like how any of the sprites looked, or if you just wanted to draw your own sprite, you can do that too. So I'm just going to delete this sprite. And you would access the paint tool to create your own sprite by hovering over Choose a Sprite and selecting the paintbrush tool that comes up. So when you click that, it brings up the interface that you would use to create your sprite. So as you can see, there's a variety of tools that you can use to make your sprite. And another important thing to notice is that it creates a new thumbnail on the bottom right. This shows that a new sprite is created and you can actually code it like you normally would. Like code the cat sprite, for example. So you can just go into the code category, drag and drop blocks, and make it do what you want it to do. But in order for it to do that, we have to create it first. So, like I said before, you have many tools at your disposal to create your sprite. So in today's video, I'll be going over the different tools and what they do in order to help you understand how to make your sprite. Okay, the tool that we're already on, the cursor or the pointer, basically allows you to select a certain part of a sprite. So I'll show you guys that later after I draw something. And on the top here, you have a place to name the costume, and you have the undo and redo buttons. So if you make a mistake, you can click the undo button to undo it. You have the fill color, basically that just fills in the shape that you draw so that it's not hollow, it's filled with color. And then the outline options. So you can pick the color of your outline and you can change its thickness. And you have delete, flip tools, and etc. Okay, so first let's go over the brush. Okay, so this is simple. It just allows you to draw a line. So currently the color is set to purple. But if I wanted to change that, I can just drop the menu down and pick my color. So I want green, so I'll just pick green. And I could also change its saturation to make it darker or lighter, and change its brightness as well to make it darker or lighter. So right here looks pretty good to me, so I'm just going to draw a line. Okay, so currently this is what our sprite looks like. If you wanted to, you could just go back into the code category and code this, but you can do more with it. So if you wanted to, you could erase it if you didn't like any part of it. Or you could also change its color using the fill tool. That basically either fills in an area, an enclosed area that you pick, or it changes the color of a line or a shape. So what I mean by that is I pick the fill tool and I just don't want the line to be green anymore. I want it to be blue. Using the fill tool, I can actually just color it blue, just like that. And you can, if I didn't want it to be blue, I can just undo it. So another thing I wanted to point out with the brush tool is that you can actually change the brush size. So currently this brush size is 10, but if I wanted the line to be thicker, I could change it to 25 and my brush is actually going to be thicker. So that's the brush tool. It's pretty simple. It just allows you to draw a line. The next tool I'm going to show you guys is the rectangle tool. So currently you have an outline that's 4 pixels wide, and it's going to fill the square / rectangle blue. But if I didn't want it to fill, I could actually disable that using this slash mark right here. So when I click that and I draw a square, it doesn't fill it anymore. But if I wanted it filled, I can just go back in there and change the color, and that's going to override the slash mark and basically fill the square. So as you can see on the right side, it does fill the square. But if I didn't like the blue color, once again, I could use the fill tool and just dump in a new color. So I want it to be pink, and I'll just dump in that new color, and it's not pink. So now that we're not in the rectangle anymore or square, you can't really change its outlines or anything like that. So if I wanted to make the outlines wider, I would have to reselect it just like that. And now I'm in the square tool. And then I can basically make any changes that I want to make. Sorry about that. Okay, so currently the outline is 4 pixels wide. If I wanted the outline to be larger, I can make it 10 pixels. And you can see it right here that the outline does increase. Or if I want it even bigger, I can make the pixel number even larger. Now it's even wider. Okay, so that's just how you change the outlines. And you could also actually disable the outline. So if I do want an outline, I could click that and the shape no longer has an outline. But if I wanted an outline again, that's a different color, let's say, I could just change the color of the outline and that's going to make an outline. You can't really see the outline because the outline pixel size is just really small, but if I make it bigger, you'll be able to see it better. Okay, so that's that. And these lines are kind of getting in the way and I don't want them there anymore. Well, I can use the erase tool to get rid of them. So currently the eraser tool is 40 pixels wide. And that's kind of small. I want it to be larger. So I'm just going to make this number larger. So we'll make it 50 pixels. So that means that I can erase it. And just like that, you can erase anything that you don't want using the eraser tool. Okay, next, let's talk about the circle tool. This part's just kind of getting in the way, so I'm just going to get rid of that too. So it's kind of a big square, so I'm going to make my eraser tool even larger so that it takes a shorter amount of time to get rid of the square. Just like that. Yeah, it's gone. Okay, so the circle tool. So the circle tool allows you to draw a circle. So it uses the same colors that it uses for the rectangle earlier because I haven't changed the outline and the fill colors. But if I want to, I can change them. And basically I can do everything that I did with the square with the circle as well. I can change its fill color, I can change its outline color, I can change the width of its outline, and etc. Okay, so I'm liking it right now. So, it's kind of like off-center. It's to the top left. So if I wanted to drag it to the center, I just select it, and then you can see that there's like a crosshair symbol in the middle of the screen. So I just matched the blue cross with the crosshair symbol, and that perfectly centers the square. So the reason the circle might look kind of off to you guys right now is because I'm on a monitor and the display is kind of stretched out. So it looks unproportionate, but it's in the center. Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys the point tool. So basically, this allows you to adjust different points on a shape. So currently, it automatically produces 4 points. But if I want to adjust this point on the circle, I can click there and that produces a point. I can drag this point around to kind of produce the shape that I want to produce. So currently it's stretched out like that. I can make it pointed if I wanted to. I can make it curved if I wanted to. I can like stretch it, shrink it, play around with it, etc. So this tool just basically allows you to modify the shape that you draw, just like that. And if I don't like what I've done with it, I can just undo it a bunch of times and it goes back to being a circle. Sorry about that. Okay, there's one other thing that I wanted to point out. So currently, we don't know if this is a perfect circle. It looks pretty much like a circle, but it could be an oval. So in order to make sure that it is a circle, there's one trick that you can use to draw a perfect circle. So that's by holding the shift key down and then dragging the circle. So no matter what I do, it's always going to be a circle. It's not going to turn into an oval. If I don't hold the shift key, you can see that it turns into an oval and it's more flexible. But if I hold the shift key, it locks itself as a circle and you can't really change it like that. It's always going to be a circle. Okay, and finally, I want to talk to you guys about the line tool. So before I do that, I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff on the screen. So I'll use my eraser again and just get rid of everything on the screen. Just like that. Okay, so the line tool is kind of similar to the marker tool, except it allows you to draw only straight lines. So as you can see, all the lines I draw are going to be straight. So since the line tool just draws a line, there's nothing inside to fill, you can actually only control the color of the outline. You can't really control the fill aspect of it. So if I want the line to be a different color, I actually have to change its outline and actual not its actual fill setting. But oh no, I've drawn three lines and I want one of them to be green. And if I draw a new line, it's gonna be green. So in order to change one of the old lines to be green, I have to go to my select tool, select that, and then change it to be green. And as you can see, it makes it green, just like that. And you could also do that using the fill tool, just like that. Oh, currently there's no fill, so that's why it kind of just removed the line. But I can undo that to bring back the line, and if I want the line to be green, I can just use the fill tool, and bam, it's green now. Okay, so that's the line tool. It's very similar to the brush tool, except it just draws straight lines. And you can also use the point tool or the reshape tool on the lines as well. So if I select the reshape tool and select the line, currently it produces 2 points. But if I want to adjust the line from the middle of it, I can select the middle of the line and drag that around. So currently it's on the curved setting. I can change it to the pointed setting so that it's a point, and I can drag that around, just like that. And if I wanted to go back, I can do that too. So with the reshape tool, I can also adjust the ends of the line so that I can make them curved or I can keep them straight, and etc. So building sprites is very trial and error because you just kind of have to get used to the interface of how to build a sprite. Okay, that's pretty much all the tools. We just have one more tool left to cover, and that's the text tool. Okay, before I do that, I'm just going to get rid of all the lines. So I can select them and hit backspace to delete that, and the text box. Okay, so text doesn't have an outline. It's just going to show up text on the stage. You can select its font, and I like the pixel font, so I'm going to pick that, and you can just type whatever you want. So I want to type in hi. Oh, currently, you can't see anything because the fill is disabled. So in order to enable the fill, you just have to change its color, and now the text is going to be blue. So I just want to type in hi and welcome. Okay, so the text is kind of hard to see, so I can click that and change its colors too. So, oh yeah, the red is much easier to see. So I like it, so I'll keep it there. So if I want to make any edits to the text, I can just click on it, double click it, and that will basically highlight the entire thing. And I can move it and type in something new. Welcome and hi. Just like that. Or I could also basically rotate the text. Whoops, I clicked out of that. Okay, rotate the text. So I could just rotate it like that. And yeah, if I wanted to change the font of the text, I could once again double click it so that it highlights the entire text and just change it to a different font. Just like that. Okay, so that's basically the different tools that you can use to build your sprite. So like I said before, it's all very trial and error because you have to experiment with the paint tool in order to become good at making sprites. Okay, now let's talk about backdrops. So when you go into the tool to make backdrops, it looks the exact same as the tool you'd use to make sprites. So just like I did with the sprite library, you can actually find a default backdrop library And you could access that by going to the bottom right and hitting choose a backdrop. So like it did with the sprites, it pulls up a ton of backdrops that you can select to basically give your game colors. But if you don't like any of these backdrops, that's when you would use the backdrop tool to create your own backdrop. So it's very similar to the sprite tool. You just hover over choose a backdrop and select paint, and that's the tool you'd use to make your backdrop. So as you can see here, it makes a new backdrop, and you could edit that in order to code or create your backdrop. So the tools are the same exact tools that you have for this sprite, except whatever you do here is going to be on the background and not the foreground, like the sprite would be. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email coding for kids. Thanks, guys.